Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. So for this session, we're going to talk about, does an affair break up a marriage? We all know that there are many reasons why married couples cheat. So approximately about 40% of married couples are impacted by infidelity. And despite the high percentage, most people, even those who choose to stay, will still say that cheating is wrong. And of course, we need to look into the risk factor as well, such as personality disorder, childhood issues, as well as opportunities such as social media and poor boundaries can increase the chance that one of these reasons will actually lead to some type of affair. With or without individual marital risk factor, there are a number of possible reasons of marital infidelity. Underlying many of the reasons, however, lie a few threads. One of the role is actually the unmet needs. The topic of infidelity and cheating spouse is everywhere. We hear about it frequently in the media and have seen the marriages of friends or relatives that have been devastated by an affair. It is not surprised that many couples intentionally, they ask questions like, how would I cope with it, with such situation? If it were happen to you, is particularly common to also wonder if your own marriage could survive such a serious betrayal. So we're going to speak about, does man actually cheat for just sex and attention, or does woman cheat for love and affection? So to speak about more on this, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our honorable speaker for this webinar, Dr. Edward Chan, a PhD holder in psychology and completed his Master of Science in Learning and Masters in Nutritional Medicine, Bachelor of Science honor in Psychology, and postgraduate diploma in Corporate Psychology. He is also the principal consultant at Psychcorp, a center for corporate psychology and board-certified corporate therapist with the Malaysian Association of Psychotherapy and the International Society for Psychotherapy, Counseling and Psychiatry Fellow of the World Council for Psychotherapy. Apart from all this, Dr. Edward Chan is also an invited speaker for the 9th World Congress of Psychotherapy for the year of 2020, keynote speaker for the 4th International Psychotherapy, Counseling and Psychiatry Conference 2020, and invited speaker for the 34th European Psychiatry Conference on schema therapy. And not to forget that Dr. Edward also have done his remarkable contributions to the world through his writing, and he is also the author of several books with the title Dancing with Crocodile, Key Strategies of Corporate Psychology, and Love is Never Enough. Apart from all that, multiply of his work has been published in the Journal of Cognitive Therapy and Research, Journal of Reattached Therapy and Developmental Diversities, International Journal of Psychiatry, and he is also an accredited reattached therapist. So ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Edward Chan.
Thank you, Joanne, for that kind introduction. So what would you like to discuss today?
Well, I'm trying not to hold my anger.
So you have been
topic. But we also need to put aside of our moral value first on the side, because people cheat for certain reasons, be it whether they are selfish or be it or any other reason. So let's just speak about, why do you think people cheat?
Well, there are, of course, many reasons, right? There is in psychology, in psychotherapy and counseling, we have something called schema, which are basically our psychological program. And I think Zoe, one of our co-hosts, is ready with some schema cards. And Zoe, if you can find the entitlement schema card for us and show us, right? So these are psychological programs that are formed when we are young. In fact, the father of psychotherapy, doctor or professor, even Sigmund Freud himself said that, give me a child of 4 years old and I will tell you how he or she is going to die, right? Very powerful statement, but very true, because a lot of these programs are already formed, by the time that we are the 4 years old, and thereby our behavior, our patterns of behavior are dictated. It's almost influenced very much, so just like if you have a program in your computer, your software, then it would influence, so this is what we call the blueprint of our behavior, right? So one of these, of course, is a schema called entitlement, right? And I mean, not to levy a lot of judgments, right? This is just observation, and I think it's born with. I'm not sure that any research has been done to it, but definitely from my colleagues in China, right? We know that there are a lot of psychological social problems with the Chinese in mainland China, all right? Because partly because in the past, now they no longer have this policy, that they used to have this like one child policy, right? And as a result, the child, and in many cases the son, and in many cases even the girls are sacrificed, just to have this precious son, and of course they're doted over. They are, the lack of a better word, spoiled. So they give rise to this schema called entitlement schema, which Zoe is going to read out for us and show us the entitlement schema. You need to show more because your background make this disappear. Right? Can yeah show directly this schema card?
Yeah, I will read out first.
Let us have a visualize it first, then you can read out. Show it on the camera.
I need to change my background first. If not, you cannot see.
I see. All right. Okay, fine. You disappeared to your background. All right. So yeah. So you can read out first. But this entitlement schema, which Zoe can read out now, right? So you can see our beautiful fish tank inside, which is a very nice natural background. Yes, yeah, that's your entitlement grandiosity schema, right?
Okay.
And so yeah, what does it say?
Believe that one is superior to others and entitled to special rights and privilege. So it feel entitled to do whatever they want, regardless of the cost to others. May involve an escalator focus on being superior, wealthy, successful, or famous. May include domination of others, extreme competitiveness, or forceful or controlling behavior.
Right. So basically, if you get all that, basically this is what. So let me repeat some of the statement there. It is the belief that you are somehow special, right? It is apply you, and this is basically what cheating is about, right? The rule apply only to one party, right? I have the right to have a secret affair, but not you, right? And therefore I don't need to tell you, right? It's I'm special, right? So this is what cheating. I mean, if you want, I mean, and some marriages relationship, they have what you call open relationship, right? But at least this is transparent to both party. You want to have other partners sleep around. We were both agreeable to it, and this was practice all the way back in the 1930s by Jean-Paul Sartre, right? He is one of the existential French philosopher, right? Open marriages. I mean, we are not here to form any judgments, right? Like you say, but what is healthy in a relationship,
Whatever
or not, based on research, right? But at the same time, I think most people would agree being fair is a fundamental aspiration we want to have, right? So if you cheat, it doesn't seem very fair, right?
How fair is it? How fair is it?
By the way, I'm involved in a research project in schema, right? The schema was basically pioneered by Professor Jeffrey Young, and in our research group, another paper has been published. We have added on a new schema called the fairness schema, right? So this is a new schema which was not in the original 18 and in the cuts that Zoe has, and then basically say that this is such a fundamental need in human being, even animals, right? They can sense when something is unfair. That if we don't have this, then this can be can hurt us in a very fundamental way, right? So for that reason, cheating might not be psychologically healthy. But I think we all intuitively know that. It's just that we need some data and justification, to back that up, right?
Do you think a cheater would know that what they are doing it's wrong?
No, they can justify their their reasons in many ways, right? That I would say this is about me. I don't want to hurt my wife or my husband. And by the way, it's not one-sided. A lot of women cheat too. We see many women patients too, right? So this by no means a male thing, right? So they will be able to convince themselves in many cases, that they met their soulmates, right? And the existing relationship with the spouse, need to be superseded, somehow with this special relationship, right? So they justify in many ways, and they don't want to hurt their spouse that they would claim, right? And so that's why they hide it, right? So and in many cases maybe that is true, right? The intention is not to hurt their spouse, but of course it has a lot of negative impact which will hurt the family, and we can talk more about that for sure, right? So we talk about entitlement, we talk about many entitlement and entitlement, but of course there are also other personality disorders like psychopathy, sociopathy, right? So these are people that have like no less ability to empathize, right, with others. And there are also other personality disorders like narcissistic personality disorders, right, which are of course formulated a lot by this entitlement schema, right?
So, doctor, what you're saying is, if let's say I find out my partner is cheating, right? So I need to be a better person to look into many different forms, like including the individual risk factor, which you just mentioned. One of it is psychological issues.
Well, yeah. I mean, and also the cheating happens, and in many cases, obviously because the needs of the cheater, are not met within the marriage, right? And this is something that we need to understand, most of us, and this is why I've written the book that the love is never enough, and which I've changed to love may not be enough, often enough, right? So, but we are brought up with this Hollywood idea of love, be able to conquer everything. But very soon you'll find that once you get attached in a relationship, in a marriage, it changes. Your dopamine, which is the chemical in your brain that makes you fall in love, will be superseded very fast by serotonin. which is the chemical in the brain for stability, right? We can also continue to have a dopamine. So in order to maintain this dopamine, like when you are taking drugs or alcohol or whatnot, right? Or pornography, all this addictive behavior will stimulate your dopamine, but it will need more of it to get the same level of high, right?
Mm-hmm.
So which is why these people who are addicted to love or sex, right, will find that it's no longer stimulating with my spouse after a while, right? And in order to maintain the same high, we need a new partner, right? To get the same or even higher level
To
of
get back
stimulation.
those teenagers' feelings when I first fall in
Exactly.
love.
Yes.
That I will do
Otherwise,
anything for you kind of love feeling.
yeah, I mean the person is there for you, you feel validated, and this is what we do.
The validation,
right?
the validation.
And unfortunately, the couples are to be blamed. I mean, not to be blamed, but to be held responsible a lot of time. All right, well, very often we just stop courtship once we get married, right? We no longer go pato and then the baby come and that's it, right? Romance is out of the window very fast. And of course, this is one of the need for each party.
So how do we create those? Because you see, when we get into a relationship, right, from the beginning, let's just say the first 6 months, it's the honeymoon period. And like you said, okay, let's get married and then let's have kids and then, go down to the window. No, it's just based on like a daily routine thing. So how do a couple have to keep those?
Yeah, well, in our therapy, in our couple therapy and sex therapy that we do at the International Psychology Center, right? We would need to initially make it very mechanistic, right? Like Wednesday night is date night, right? You dump your kids somewhere, by cook or by what do you call? Anyway.
Babysitter, just find a babysitter.
Yeah, so you do that, and that appointment is immovable. It's just like you make an appointment with your biggest the client in your business, right? You don't move that around. So that is sacred on Wednesday night, and then you take turn to organize that. Now MCO is more or less over, right? You can do things, you can do a restaurant, but right, so we were, in fact, Zoe and I, we were seeing this couple, and the woman complained, that there's nothing special in our relationship. I need special things, so that I have we have good, build up good memories. But every night is the same Netflix, same old restaurants, So she desire something special, right? And I don't think I think this is just pure laziness for especially for men, right? That you don't put on your thinking cap but this is very different from when you need to like pursue a woman in the early days, right? So we need to look at it with that same objective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and also if you look at sex, right, it is like a pyramid, right? So the sex part, the intercourse is right at the tip, but at the bottom of it, there are a lot of other things. We talk about foreplay, but there's only physical foreplay. There's also the psychological foreplay, the social foreplay, all this courting and flirting. They have a very important function, but most of us stop doing it. But we know but we definitely know how to do that because we did that in the early days of courtship. And but we just take it for granted, we already got a prize, let's
my wife ready, so what else more does she
my
want,
wife ready,
right?
my husband ready, no need to look good for them, but that's the thing, we all not only women, but we all want to feel desire, right? We all want to feel special, right? Especially to someone special to us. So that specialness is we don't put effort into that, and that need, the need to feel special is lost, unfortunately, right? So we all need to be responsible for that.
Would you, Doctor, would you tell us more about another individual risk factor, which is attachment style? Is cheating an attachment style? Is it an avoidance? Is it an...
Well, I mean, there's certainly a lot of avoidance there. You know, when you cheat, you avoid addressing the issues in your marriage, right, or in your primary relationship. You know, by the by solving it, temporarily with the affair, right? So big times avoidance, right? It is also something we call self-soothing detachment, right? I'm just going to bang this a little bit to let my cat out, right? But we can continue talking.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, that is not confronting, because to address the issue is difficult, right? We need to talk about things that are maybe difficult to talk about, like, I'm not able to satisfy you sexually, all right, like we didn't have good sex, so let's talk about it, how we can move forward, or I don't feel validated by you, we don't talk, so all these are difficult subjects to navigate, right? It's better to sweep it under the carpet, and then we find that we are, there's someone else who are ready to feel this need, then problem solved, right? And we would address it. So that is how it gets started. So the in the majority of cases, affair is not about sex, right? It's about it's about your psychological needs being met.
So what I mentioned earlier is that does man cheat for sex and attention, and women usually cheat for love and affection?
It's both, right? Sex is more than sex in any case, right? The sex, it's, when we have sex, the intention of sex, of course, is formulated a little bit differently in the male's brain and the female's brain, right? For female, and this is probably a little bit to do with biology, but a lot to do with culture, right?
Right.
Like for example, boys, right? So there are no issues, for example, for boys to masturbate, right? It's not frowned upon, let's say, right? It depends on the culture, but in most culture, it is not something they consider it's a normal thing. But when you see your daughter masturbate, right, that is like a no. Okay, so that we have a lot more judgment and things. So therefore, boys grow up to be men, and girls grow up to be female, and you'll be surprised, a lot of female clients that we come to see us, they do masturbate, right? They don't know why, they thought it is wrong, so because just this very simple fact of our different attitude, which is certainly very cultural, very patriarchal, what was the word, patriarchal, right? It would lead to this difference, very different sexuality between the male and the female gender, and how we look at sex, right? For male, therefore, for men, we're able to separate sex and love, but female, and unfortunately, you folks don't do that. When you like make love, you have sex rather, right? Then you feel okay. This means love, right? And you get very like mixed up about
So
that.
you mean male can just detach that
yeah,
okay,
sex is
just
sex.
I don't need to love
sex
you.
is sex, and there are different type of sex, just like there are different type of food, right? You have the fine dining,
What do you
have
mean by
the
there's
fast
different
food.
types of sex?
Well, you have like a quick tea, you have the fine dining, you know. Of course, the best sex is when you are really in love with someone and you are, you know, attached to them, you know, and that will blow your mind away, right? But even just with your spouse, and that you know, it doesn't mean you need to spend 2 hours every time, right? You can be a quick
Just a
tea as well.
responsibility, routine job done.
Wow,
I have to put it that way.
routine sex. Wow, that's a new one. Yeah, maybe that is
homework.
Homework, a job sex, right? Yeah, why not? So that's the point, right? There are sex and sex, different type of sex, and they have a different function, right?
Okay.
It's not that we can have the fine dining every day, right? But we have others.
Okay.
So
Right.
so that's and also so sex is not just a physical event, but a very psychological, emotional, you know, event, and which is why sexual betrayal is so traumatic, right, for many people, because we feel like traumatized, right? Because it's like, if it's sex, it's just sex, it's no big deal. So what's a big deal, right? My spouse have sex with another person, okay, yeah, I don't own her, yeah, so that's cool, you know, and she still loves me. Well, I mean, that potentially can be an attitude, but most people don't have that, right? So that is because of the attachment we have, the psychological attachment we have with sex, right?
So do you agree with me if one part, the victim find out, you know, if let's just put it this way, if I find out that my partner cheated and then, but I know it's wrong, but I still choose to stay, is it something wrong with me because it's wrong and I choose to stay?
Yeah, it's always a choice, you know. And by the way, we do invite questions from folks, right? Whenever you want any question, you can raise up your hand or put in the chat box.
Yes.
So no, it is always a choice, and which is why the subtitle of this webinar is, you know, that does an affair inevitably lead to the end of the relationship or not, right? It's always a choice, and one of the way to look at it is that the affair is a barometer. It indicates that there are some issues that need to be resolved. There are unmet needs, right, in our relationship. So it's a great opportunity, as I sometimes tell the patients who come to me because of the affair, right? It is a great opportunity to address some of these issues and to grow even closer, right? That now you have this opportunity, you are almost forced into it, but you still have a choice to address it or not, right? Because
so for those
having the affair.
We have questions. Do we have questions? Okay. So we have the first, yes, Andy, as well as entitlement schema. Is there a need for risk and danger in some people that motivates this behavior?
So the question is, apart from the entitlement schema, are there other risk factors? Is it?
Yeah. So doctor, basically, some people like that element of danger and risk in their lives, you know, and having an affair with someone, you know, can feel risky, you know.
Yeah, it is again, same thing, the dopamine rush, right? We do things, you know, you just like you know, having sex in the car park, right? It gives you a certain rush.
I don't know. I'm not too sure about this.
Dopamine.
I'm not too sure about
right?
this. I think it's a very individual thing. I think it's
exactly a very individual thing. That's for sure. But it's all about that, right? Is different ways of increasing your dopamine. Which of course can be done within the the relationship, right? Not maybe not having sex in the car park, but maybe having sex in a new place, in a new resort, might give you some dopamine rush, right? Having sex in the kitchen, right? Well,
just make sure that the stove is off and it's not hot.
Yes. So the question is, hopefully that answer that, right? So definitely having an affair will give rise to higher dopamine. I mean, the new partner itself would itself work very nicely for that, but the danger of it will definitely add, to that. And plus, if you have another personality, not personality disorder, but a psychological disorder called ADD, right? Then certainly, attention deficit disorder, it will also add to that, right? Because people suffering from that, not everyone, of course, right? But there are some links of ADD with affairs and impulsivity, the lack of dopamine. So all this will make them more vulnerable, possibly, right? Than other folks who do not have this disorder.
Yeah, thanks, Doctor. The other one that strikes me is that basically when I listen to you talk, it seems that there's a good argument for teaching children perhaps relationship skills. I mean, I don't know how it is in Malaysia, but in the UK, they don't teach that kind of thing in school. But I wonder if it wouldn't be a bad idea when I listen to this.
Yeah, definitely. I would totally agree with you. And the other thing that is very necessary, or rather very useful, is a premarital counseling, right? I know some churches and some temples and even the Muslim practice that, but how much, right? Is it real valuable counseling or not? Is I think questionable. But I am a certified trainer and administrator for this instrument called Prepare and Enrich. All right, it is an instrument by Dr. David Olson. I don't know whether he is still alive. He's a clinical psychologist and who created this instrument. Is internationally validated and he used a lot in churches, right?
Doctor, you're mute. Okay.
Yeah, it has. Sorry, a phone coming suddenly. It has many questions, which basically gets to each party about the attitude to a lot of things, like from parenting to sex, affection to friendships, and whether any of this might be an issue or not, right? And so this can form a very useful way to trash out this. Yeah, I need to block this number in a short while, but you carry on. So this will be something very useful to have for sure, premarital counseling, and we would highly recommend people to do that. And we also have a version called Enrich, right? So there's two versions: preparing for a relationship, and Enrich, which is like your health check. You have your annual health check, you have a relationship health check to see whether any of these issues or iron out, or whether they're like time bomb waiting to blow up, that might lead to an affair or not, right?
Right. I'm very curious, Doctor. Do you think women tends to have that instinct? Do you believe in that?
I think we all have that instinct, right? But many of us avoid it.
Is it because of their behavior that we seems to find odd, or usually, I don't know, maybe I watch too much movie, is usually that somebody went out to cheat and then come back like, hey, you have dinner, the behavior of tends to, they try to normalize it, but it seems like sometimes women tends to pick up certain things like, we are not sure, but I think so.
Yeah. I mean, we all have instincts, I think men as well, and it is an opportunity to maybe look deeper into it, right? And addressed by all means, rather than thinking that it is not to be addressed and avoided, right? So that is definitely something that we would encourage.
Okay, Yumi has something to say. She said that I feel that long-term successful marriage needs two people's mental maturity and as well as spiritually. If either one or two is mentally immature, there is higher chance of cheating because they don't understand the meaning of commitment relationship.
Okay, so first of all,
committed relationship, right?
So first of all, yeah. So first of all, we need to define what we means by mental maturity, right? We all
Yumi,
sort of
you want to say something?
Intuitively know about it, and it sounds like Yumi means about commitment, right? So we don't want to do again make a judgment, right? That commitments is equal to mental maturity.
Yumi, you have any input you wanna?
I do, but today I'm a little bit shy because this is not clinical supervision. Yeah, it's okay. I have so many.
So
it's all right. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
So that's the thing, right? We don't want to make the assumption that commitment is means is equal to is part of mental maturity.
Right. I also believe, like, maybe what Yumi says, that we all have to be very maturely, to deal with this kind of situation. If we find one part of a partner cheat, we need to sit down and think it through how we're going to work this out. Because some other people, they can be revengeful. Okay, you've cheated, I'm going to do the same thing to you. I'm going to let you taste your own medicine. So it's not going to work, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that. Revenge has a
Doctor, we can't hear you.
So
right. The revenge part, yeah.
Yeah, revenge has a lot of negative energy, right? So certainly that will not help you with your emotional health when you carry all this negative energy.
Okay, now
that's for sure.
We're gonna move forward to talk about treatment, couple therapy. Now, doctor, if somebody comes to you, if let's say I'm your patient, right? I come to you and say, so Dr. Edward, I come to see you today. I am the one that I cheated, but I need to fix my marriage. Can you please don't tell my partner? Or
well, of course,
what would you do?
Of course, all our sessions are confidential, right? And we respect that. And before we, in the case of couple therapy, before we share anything with the partner, if we do have an individual session, then we would need to get the consent, from the party to share with the other party, right? But having said that, we will, in order for the therapy to work at its best, we would encourage and recommend full transparency.
So you do agree that certain things have to come up?
Oh, it's not have to. There's always a choice. Of course, we want to see, look at the situation, but on the whole, we would recommend as much transparency as possible. Right?
Okay. Right. Kamini have a question. Kamini have a question here. So, doctor, will your final say, does an affair have to lead to the end of a marriage? And if no, is that a fair outcome for the other partner?
Yeah, it doesn't have to end, lead to an end to the marriage, and this, of course, it depends on the if you like, the perpetrator, right? Let's have a more neutral term rather than the cheater.
In
All
my
right,
own personal opinion, it depends on situations. It depends on situations.
Well, it depends on how much the perpetrator has learned, how the remorseful they are, right? If you're talking about someone with an entitlement schema, and the schema is very much still intact, right? Or someone with a sociopathy, then yeah, it the same thing is likely to happen again. Then yes, I would say the community would not be very fair to stay, to expect to be abused again, to be betrayed again. You are just hurting yourself, right? So it depends on that, whether the partner is willing to change. If they are willing to change, even with sociopathy, psychopathy, and any schema, we can help. And so seeing a therapist is I would say essential, because changing on your own is very difficult.
Because some people, they do change once they find out what is.
Yeah, I mean that is why we do what we do, because we believe it is possible for everyone to change, right?
So do people, okay, Kamini says, do people who cheat before really change to be a faithful partner later on in life? How much is that possible from psychological perception?
Yeah, totally possible.
Once a cheater, forever a cheater?
No, definitely not.
No,
that definitely not, right? You need to look at the situations, and we need to, well, so at the same time, going back to treatment, very often we ignore the perpetrator, right? And not focus on, if you like, the victim, right? And because of that, unwittingly we are reinforcing the problem, right? The perpetrator forever get punished for it, and as a result, he's vulnerable again,
right?
And
I believe people, I do believe people who suffer from the abandonment issues schema tends to stay on.
They need to stay on, but the perpetrator need to be healed too, because they very often feels very guilty having hurt someone. It's just like in the after the First World War, we rarely punish Germany, right? As a result, they become the aggressor again. And we learn from that after the Second World War. We rehabilitate Germany, give them a lot of aid to rebuild. It's the same thing. The perpetrator or offender need help too, and we must heal them, right? So this is what we do in post-affair therapy, right? We teach the perpetrator how to heal the victim, right? Yes, because it will, and very often they want to do that, right? And there's a way to do it. Very often, unwittingly, it is not done. Every time that the wife or the husband, the victim, bring up the affair, then they'll try to shut them off. Not this again. I thought we have gone through it. But they need to contain it, learn how to do that healing, right? And eventually it will heal, right?
Because,
so that
I agree, because I find out that woman tends to have this thing, remember you cheated, and then men would be like, but look, I try to make it better, but you seem to bring this up every time when we have, so it's not going anywhere either.
Yeah, exactly. So that they get stuck in that, and then there's very little intimacy and good communication in the relationship, and of course, he or she is vulnerable again to to affairs.
Yeah,
Right.
Kamini loves your answer. She said you always apply such compassionate veil in treatment.
Well, yeah, this is the humanistic approach.
Yeah, back to the teaching the how to heal the victim part. I'm actually would you like to tell us more about that? It's actually quite interesting to hear that part.
Yeah, I mean, the victim is traumatized, right? And
wouldn't be traumatized, right?
No, I mean, it's possible not to be traumatized, right? It depends on your the schema.
The schema, yes.
Yeah, if you have abandonment schema, mistrust abuse schema, defectiveness schema, because you feel defective, I'm obviously not good enough. But all these are not necessary, right? It is not necessary. Depends on your schema, right? If you have a healthy enough schema, then you might think, okay, this is more about him than me, right? Yeah. It's very little to do with me. This is more him, so it depends on how you look at it. But going back to the healing, most people they get traumatized, so that they need to ensure that as in with any trauma, you want to be vigilant to ensure you're not going to get traumatized again, right? So this is PTSD. Right, so how do you do that? You need to keep on talking about it, with the other party, right? To ensure that he's not going to do it again, or I'm just going to use he for convenience, but this by no means means perpetrator is always he, right? Maybe I should use she instead.
Where are the men here? Where are the men in this webinar that you guys want to say something to defend or always welcome? Correct. Carry on, doctor.
Yeah. So therefore that is why that is the need to keep on talking and bringing it up to ensure that the perpetrator is remorseful, is not going to do it again, and that's why we keep on asking why. Why do you do that? We want this assurance, which of course is unwittingly we are pushing the other party away, because we are beating them up with a stick. They are already feeling guilty already, and we keep on reminding them how bad that they should feel, right? And this is just a recipe for affair to happen again, unfortunately, right? Because he's being pushed away, he's feeling bad. This is a Second World War all over again, right? Germany is made to feel to be the bad boy, right? And this is how Hitler came into power, right? Because the people are so make to feel so to be at fault, right? To be blamed for the First World War, right? So they're ready.
I have a friend that I said to her, you're not angry with your husband doing certain things like this, and she actually said something that kind of like, why would I want to be angry? To be angry again so that he can walk out to the door and goes into another woman's arms again?
No, I mean, right, that there are few stages and emotions of grief. All right. So we need to understand an affair is about grieving too, right? And in many ways it is worse than someone dying, because your spouse is still there, right? If he has died, that's it, right? We can move on, but he's still there. You need to sleep with him, and every time and not to talk about having sex again, that is like, maybe re-traumatizing you, right? And then you think when that happens, right? So that's why you need to really take extra care, one step at a time when you are ready to get back, to be intimate again, so it's a whole process. So like in any grief stages, that there are these different emotion of anger, of fear, right, of non-acceptance.
I actually have this here. The stages goes denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
Exactly, right. So the denial is one thing, for example, right, bargaining as well. So that there's all this going on. That's for sure.
So you may have another questions, doctor. You mentioned that some of the personality disorder are associated with cheating. Is there any linkage with BPD?
Yeah, there is, because borderline personality disorders are BPD, borderline personality disorder, are linked with multiple relationship, right? The emptiness and needing to have a relationship to fill the void. And they typically, associate sexual relationship, with love, right? To fill the void. So yes, this sort of people will be very vulnerable to right. Yeah. So hopefully that answer your question.
Now, doctor, with your experience, how many percentage that is successful, unsuccessful? Successful rates are higher.
Well, yeah, that definitely, because the percentage of affairs. So the percentage of affairs now is much more common.
Right.
Yeah. So and with that, then the definitely the the treatment outcome is much higher. But both party or at least one. So at least one party need to be able to to come for therapy, right? So that needs to be done.
Is there anyone still have any questions? Because I think we have about another 5 more minutes. Well, doctor, are there any cases that when you look at it and it's like, no, it's not going to work out? And what are the examples that you think a marriage that can't be saved?
Well, like I say, if the schema is not changed, and the disorder is not the person is not willing to work on that, yeah, then that would be difficult, right? And of course, if there are threats of life and things like that, yeah, that would be difficult. Violence, right?
I've actually always wondered which psychological, emotional it's more painful, the victim being betrayed or the guilt from the cheater, right? Which is more painful to wait it?
Right. So you're saying which way heavier, the
yeah, which is more
or...
painful, the betrayal from the victim that feels more painful, or okay, I've done something so wrong that I'm so guilty now? Which one eats them up more suffer psychologically?
I think it depends on the schema, right?
Okay.
Of the person. Yeah. So some people, like I said, a defectiveness schema can apply to both, right? If you're the perpetrator, you feel less worthy of a person, right? So it really it depends on many of these things. your schema, your personality. All right. Whether we haven't even talked about the personality type, whether you are emotion person or thinking person. And this is and this is why it is easier for a man, right, to like justify the cheating, because they have more what you call the thinking or logical type of personality. This is actually research done. There's a gender difference on personality. Women tend to be a more emotional, what we call the F type feeling personality. So it would be easier in that way, you know, for a man, especially if you are thinking type, right, to then justify the cheating and feel less guilty about it, right? For you to rationalize that would be easier if you have that type of personality, and more men have compared to women. And feeling.
Does anyone still have any questions, or else we're just gonna wrap up for today's session? So, doctor, in conclusion, yes, a marriage still can be saved if both parties willingly to work together hand in hand.
Or even just one party willing to work on it, it might affect the other party, because a relationship is a system. You just need one party, you know, to change. Yeah.
Okay.
So one part will affect the system, right? The whole system. So we just need one part to willing to change. Then you know, then we might be able to influence the whole relationship. So there's always hope.
There's always hope. Yeah, don't despair. If you come across anyone that was suffering from all this, don't know how to deal with, there's always ways that you can always look for us, International Psychology Center, always willingly to help up. And we're going to do assessment as well to see if your partner is suffering from any personality disorder, or you yourself actually suffering from any kind of schemas, to understand yourself better and your partner. And if you want to work, if you want your marriage to work, there's always a way. So don't just, you know, sit there and beat yourself up and do all the self-blame, right, doctor?
Totally, yes. So we can see an affair as an opportunity, right?
It's an opportunity to
be more intimate with our partner, you know, have a better marriage, better relationship. Yes, we can definitely look at that, and we can look at before even happen, ways to prevent it. Right. So we can take a lot of steps to do that. At the end of the day, there's no ultimate guarantee against affair. So the best guarantee is to build strong, intimate relationship. That's your best defense and prevention.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, doctor, for your time today. And this is quite an interesting topic to talk about.
Thank you, Joanne, for being so wonderful.
I already tried to hold all my anger and not trying to defend the victim.
We haven't talked about your anger, Joanne. We haven't talked about.
No. I'm always the one that I defend. I always defend the victim. But I try not to. I've learned along the way.
Both parties, we can look at both parties as victims. All right. So of course, one is more than the other, but.
Yeah. I mean, I really learned how not to put in the moral value in it, because if I start to judge, then I'm not going to be able to help. So I need to listen to both part of the story.
Yes, very wise, Joanne. We recommend
that way. Right. Thank you so much, everyone. We're going to have a different topic for next month, so stay tuned for that. We're going to come up with a topic. And thank you, everyone, for spending 1 hour with us here. And we'll see you on the next webinar. Thank you, doctor.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice relationship.
Such a hot topic.